We have seen Andy Ruiz against Jarrell Big Baby Miller made for the upcoming... Is it a crossover fight with Top Rank or crossover card with Top Rank? It's going to be on the undercard of Terence Crawford against Madrimov. How do you see that one going? Andy Ruiz coming up against Big Baby Miller.
I fucking love it. We've been wanting Andy Ruiz to come back because there's clearly major talent there. But, like, it's gone somewhere. It's not been there since he fought AJ the first time. He's not looked the same. So if he can rediscover it, I'd love that. And I think Big Baby is going to ask all the questions, going to put it on him. Battle of the Fat Bastards. I'm absolutely loving that. I can't wait to see if Ruiz can still show something that he's got.
I'll tell you what, right? I've got to give a little bit of credit to Andy Ruiz in this one because... this sort of goes out the window when you understand the circumstances why I'm giving him credit. The reason I'm giving him credit is for the level of opposition he's coming back against. The reason I take that credit back away is because you shouldn't have to be taking all this time in between your fights. In the last 5 years, Andy Ruiz has had a couple of fights. I mean, even in the last 2 years, Jarrell Big Baby Miller's had 5 fights, right? Coming off the back of that ban. Andy Ruiz has had 1 in the last 2 years. But when he has come back... He came back after the first layoff against Anthony Joshua and fought Chris Arreola. At the time, maybe that was looked at as a guy that, had boxed for a heavyweight world title a couple of times, but wasn't up to that standard. He actually gave Andy Ruiz a really good fight, dropped Andy Ruiz in that fight. Then he takes another best part of 2-year layoff. He comes back against Luis Ortiz. So to now come back in there against Jarrell Big Baby Miller, it does at least show a statement of intent to show that, okay, I've seen the Saudis come into boxing. I've seen the way the heavyweight landscape's moving, and I very much want to be a part of this. And an Andy Ruiz that is motivated to be in big fights is a very, very dangerous Andy
I love
Ruiz.
how we have like mystical fighters like a motivated Andy Ruiz, or a cocained up Ryan Garcia,
a non-weight trained Ryan Garcia. Yeah.
How do you see the fight going? Because my first thought immediately was Big Baby's hands are not as quick as Ruiz. Like Ruiz could light that guy up if he's on, he should win.
I think so. I'd make Andy Ruiz a favourite. Again, though, I think that we've seen, especially when we look at the heavyweight division, that activity is so important. You look at Anthony Joshua at the moment. I'm not saying that, it's purely, fight regular and you'll be at that standard. Of course, Ben Davidson's made a massive impact on that. Taking the losses have probably helped him. But being active, having that amount of fights, has definitely helped him. Same goes for Joseph Parker. So the inactivity will definitely go against...
Big Baby's been active, right?
He has been active.
And what I like about Big Baby for a big lad is he puts the pressure on people. So if Andy Ruiz hasn't trained properly, he will get found out big time.
Tell you what both these men have got. Great chins. Both men...
Yeah. People don't give Andy Ruiz enough credit, do they, for the chin? Because when you look back at it, the shot he nailed, AJ nailed Andy Ruiz with before Ruiz pops back up and nails him back, that's the same shot he flattened Francis Ngannou with.
Yeah.
And before that fight, I'd never seen Francis Ngannou even look remotely hurt. Andy Ruiz is a rock jaw for sure.
Yeah, and we've seen so many heavyweights put away by those shots. Also, Joseph Parker fought Andy Ruiz, wasn't able to ever really put a dent in him, although he did pick up a decision in that fight. I think that the hand speed's definitely obviously of Andy Ruiz. Neither men have got great footwork. The better footwork does come from Andy Ruiz.
The idea, they should just put them in wheelchairs and wheel them into the middle and just let them punch each other.
Could work.
Fuck this shit.
And I would say the size factor's obviously going in Jarrell Big Baby Miller's, not just the actual weight, just the height as well.
Have you seen them face off?
Yeah.
It's a big difference.
I thought it was a huge difference.
Huge.
Yeah.
It looks like heavyweight versus a light heavyweight in terms of height.
But let's have it right. Andy Ruiz should beat this guy and beat this guy well. When you look at Andy Ruiz's resume, obviously the fights that he's lost in Joseph Parker and the Anthony Joshua rematch, but also even in the fights he's won, man, Andy Ruiz has wins over Anthony Joshua, Luis Ortiz. What is Big Baby's best win? Thomas Adamek.
And he went really close with Parker, Ruiz as well. And the funny thing is now looking back at it, these two are about to fight. Big Baby was the one who pulled out of the AJ fight, and that's why Andy Ruiz got his title fight. He should be fucking thanking him. But equally, we're looking at this fight now going, Well, of course, Ruiz is the favourite, which proves like when they swapped out Big Baby Miller, they literally swapped out a guy who was supposed to be the perfect landing, platform in America for AJ for a much harder guy.
Mate, they fucked it.
That was mental. Like who? I know Eddie. It was probably Eddie, right? Like what the fuck were you thinking? This was mental.
I don't know if you remember, and I remember this period of time very well, right? The rumoured replacements for that fight were Gerald Washington. He was one of them. Gerald Washington, and then also I think that Pulev was looked at, but he couldn't make the fight and he couldn't get there in time. They ended up going Vandy Ruiz, and I think what their thought pattern was, and again, it sort of builds into, okay, we've been preparing for this dimension, this style of fighter, maybe it could work with this one. But what Andy Ruiz was going to do against Anthony Joshua was never the same as what Jarrell Big Baby Miller was going to do. Jarrell Big Baby Miller was going to push Anthony Joshua back, lean his weight on him, try and fight him in the inside, and try and put those punches in bunches together. Whereas what Andy Ruiz did very well, you'd see like Andy Ruiz would pull that jab out against Anthony Joshua with no intention of even landing it or having anything heavy on it, just trying to get a bite on that rod, and then when that bite comes, bomb, throw your hands at the same time as him. And it's been shown time in, time out that that's something that can work well against Anthony Joshua. Against Jarrell Big Baby Miller, I don't know whether that tactic will be the same. So I'm definitely thinking that we're going to see the boxing technique here come from Andy Ruiz. But I think stylistically, we know what we're going to get from Andy Ruiz. He will put the punches together. I don't see any way that this fight disappoints. And I think for the winner, you're going to see them go straight into a massive, massive fight. So I'm really thankful we're seeing Andy Ruiz in there. And if ever he was going to look at the landscape of boxing, now's the time. Look at your countryman, Ryan Garcia. Look at the way that not so recently people have been writing him off, almost disregarding Ryan Garcia. And look how one big win has propelled him straight back in there. And if there's ever a weight division to do that in, with the Saudis in boxing right now, do it at heavyweight. We've literally just spoke about Hrgovic and Dubois, best of the rest. Mate, if Andy Ruiz comes back and looks like the Andy Ruiz of old, are you telling me you don't put him and elevate him above Hrgovic and Dubois winner? I would.
And look, His Excellency is obviously behind this fight, so it's for a reason. It's to build the fight to then end up in Saudi. So, yeah.
Can I ask you one quick thing on the end of this? Is there a danger with all these fights being put on by Turkey Al-Sheikh and the guys over in Saudi? Is there a danger that fighters now will literally sit out and wait for the Saudis to come calling? Is there a danger that we won't now see a card, let's say at the O2 Arena, with a headline fight of a Dillian White against an Andy Ruiz or something along that nature?
I think only the creme de la creme will do that, and I think they're the same fighters who were already sitting out anyway. Like AJ and Fury were fighting once or twice a year max, and one of those was a gimme fight a lot of the time, right? So, or sometimes both, right? So I think now, because of Saudi, they're getting in the ring more often. And I think, unfortunately, if anyone does think that that's a clever way to go, they'll find out the hard way that it's the worst way to go. The way to make sure you get those big paydays is to be impressive, do fights, and build your way into that stable of fighters who are now competing basically for Turkey Al-Sheikh, that's so you kind of have to work your way up, and then you're in the club. But you could easily not be in the club if you lose a few as well, by the looks of it. So.
Yeah. Really excited for this one. People, let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. The Pain Game, which I'm a regular guest on, I should say, is linked in the description. So head over there. Watch-alongs. We've got a few planned, haven't we?
We got Usyk versus Fury, May 8th, and then we've got 5 versus 5, June the 1st. And to be honest with you, this summer, we've got McGregor coming back, Jake Paul, Mike Tyson, and then there's like a whole bunch of other fights we could be doing. So yeah, it's going to be wild, mate.
Cannot wait for it. Yeah. Make sure you are over on the Pain Game channel for the watch-alongs. We'll be advertising them as they're coming up, and I will see you all in the next one.